Greetings, decisive, initiating, gallant Aries. My name is Eliane Nicole. I'm an astrologer and tarot card reader, and now I'm going to do the September 2020 forecast for the sign of Aries. And you can watch this video if you have an Aries sun, moon, or rising. And I'm going to start with the tarot layout, and then I'm going to, in the second half of the video, talk about some of the planetary transits for next month. And, I definitely recommend that you contact me directly to have your own cards and transits read, because that's how you get the most out of this kind of these spiritual tools, I believe. But these readings on YouTube are a good way to get some broad overviews. And as we enter the month of September, Aries, it looks like you are a little off balance. Perhaps there's a situation, it could be like going to extremes, something that calls for moderation perhaps. Or kind of calming your temperament, which isn't surprising knowing that it's kind of Mars season out here. Mars is in Aries right now. In the beginning of September, it is really slowing down to the retrograde point. You were covered by the world reversed, and the world reversed has to do with your vision. It's slowly but surely coming to life, or it's coming to life but not exactly the way that you thought it would. So that's what's going on. It's still a very auspicious card, Aries. You're crossed by the Four of Pentacles. This has to do with playing it safe, maybe being conservative, saving money, investing. Financial and practical concerns are really where a lot of your karmic work is in September. And aside from that, there's also like self-esteem and self-worth things that you're working on as it relates to these aspects of your life. The basis of the situation, this is the Six of Swords reversed. So this has to do with someone returning from a trip, and it can also have to do with turning around your ideas around a situation, and that possibly kind of creating a calmer emotional atmosphere. What's leaving is the Ace of Swords, so this is a victory. What could come into being, the Three of Swords reversed. And so this has to do with healing. It can be literal healing, like if you have an injury or if you just had a surgery or anything like that. Or it can be more of a metaphorical healing, like, your heart is healing over the pain of a loss of some kind, or a disappointment of some kind. What could come into being, it looks like a rebirth, regeneration, possibly reinventing yourself. Fears or insecurities. You might fear the judgment of others, or fear, seeds that you planted in the past in a situation that may not be blooming in the way that you hoped. Others see you, the Knight of Swords. So it looks like there's a man who is wants to have a discussion with you about something. It could be a heated discussion. Positive feelings. The Ten of Cups reversed. So it looks like there's a family upset of some kind. However, you have very positive feelings about it. Perhaps because, I think that sometimes when these things happen, emotions come out, they're on the table, and then they can be, dealt with. So I think you have positive feelings about how this all unravels, shakes out, whatever. It could also be the unraveling of a relationship for some, but you feel good about it, something like that. And then the outcome is the King of Cups reversed, and this is a male romantic figure who's out of alignment. It can also be a creative figure who's out of alignment. The King of Cups represents a man who is either a romantic figure. He could also be a spiritual figure or an artistic figure, but he's out of alignment somehow at the end of September, it looks like. And so that's the overview for Aries, the tarot overview for the month of September. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about the planets. As we enter the month of September, we immediately have a full moon, September 1st, the very first day of the month. And the full moon is in Pisces. And so for Aries, this full moon is emerging in your 12th house of hidden karma. So this is a very deep full moon. This is a very psychic full moon. It's a very emotional full moon. You know that full moons illuminate anyway. So there could be illumination around some secrets for Aries. There could be illumination around something that's been in your blind spot, and it can come to light around this full moon. It's a time where areas where there's been vagueness or cloudiness for you things could come to light. And it's a time that really, I think, highlights solitude, self-reflection, time alone, things like that. And so that's how we start out the month for Aries. And then September 3rd, Saturn in Capricorn is forming a quincunx with the North Node in Gemini. And for Aries, particularly people who were born around 25 degrees Aries, I think that you will feel this. Anything that happens in Capricorn for Aries is significant because Capricorn forms a square to Aries, and that's a challenging angle. And so usually anything that happens in Capricorn will require action to be taken in some way by Aries. And so with the Saturn quincunx, the North Node, for Aries, that's bringing together your 3rd house of communication and your 10th house of career and enterprise. So there could be, an irritation that happens, something that causes things to be addressed, bringing together those parts of your life. September 5th, Uranus in Taurus is forming a semi-square with the North Node in Gemini. And Aries is sextile Gemini, and so this is, for the most part, a pleasant aspect. The semi-square that's happening between Uranus and the North Node is more of a edgy nature. But this in general has to do with, I think financial stuff, communication stuff for Aries. And that's September 5th. Also that day, Mercury moves into Libra. And so anything that happens in Libra is also very significant for Aries because Libra opposes Aries on the zodiac. And so there's always a lot to learn there. It can manifest in the physical world as another person opposing you. However, it can be you being at odds with yourself. But yeah, this is the realm of communication. Mercury going into Libra is communicating, and Mercury is the planet of our intellect, how we learn, how we think, how we write, how we speak. And Mercury in Libra can bring up debates. It can bring up arguments. It can bring up, weighing the pros and cons about something endlessly. It can bring up issues of fairness and, communicating about fairness, justice, equality, balance. It's also can bring up communicating within your marriage or relationship or business partnership for Aries during Mercury in Libra. And Mercury is moving through the sky very quickly right now. Within the month of September alone, Mercury is in Virgo, and then Libra, and then Scorpio. And so the communication dynamics change focus throughout the month, and there's a lot going on with Mercury. Also on September 5th, Pallas, Athene, the asteroid, is going direct. And for Aries, that's in your 10th house of career and enterprise. Career and attainment. So there's a lot being activated in that 10th house of career and attainment for Aries. And if you are an Aries who doesn't have a career, this is just however you are known in the world, how you're known in public, the work you do publicly, it doesn't mean that you're famous necessarily, but whatever things that you participate in that are outside of the purview of like your home environment and your immediate family environment. But so anyway, if you have more questions about that as an Aries who doesn't have a career, contact me and we can do a one-on-one reading and go deeper into it. But and it can also be that you are focusing on developing this area if it's not something that you have already during this year in particular, because all of these Capricorn planets, Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, and then the asteroid Pallas Athene, have been in this 10th house all 2020 for Aries, and they've been, doing their thing, communicating with the other planets in the sky, but all bringing it back to these issues of career and attainment. But also for Aries, there's a ton going on in your first house, which is identity and self-expression and sense of self and ego and the body, actually, the physical body, and, your decision-making processes and things like that. So all of that in that first house for Aries right now, we have Chiron, we have Eris, the goddess of discord, Chiron, the planet of the wounded healer, the black moon of Lilith, asteroid or placement that rather has to do with, some of our more shadow repressed sides of our, for Aries, your identity and self, because it's in your first house right now. And then Mars is in the first house of Aries, which is a very significant aspect for the whole second half of the year, because it came into Aries June 27th, beginning, this 6-month Mars story that's unfolding for Aries, because it's at home in Aries. Mars, the planet of drive, the planet of libido, the planet of our competitive nature, the planet of how we go for our desires. However, the shadow side of Mars, which, we can be expecting to explore as well in the retrograde season, is about fighting and conflict. And, it can be about, for the collective, it can be about war and civil unrest. And, on a personal level, sometimes Mars retrograde has to do with having too much on your plate, like so much to do. And sometimes, depending on how it is in your personal chart, it can be affecting your drive or your libido in a way. And there is, good herbs and things that you can take for Mars, depending on how your Mars is positioned and what it needs to, I guess, perform at its highest vibratory level during this very intense period of the second half of the year. But, Mars is going to invite us to explore our reactive nature, how we channel our frustration, our anger, certainly, how we channel it for the greater good. And the greater good can be the collective, the greater good can be our family, the greater good can be our office space. The greater good means different things in different people's lives, but it's beyond just ourself and our own needs. So a lot of that is happening for Aries, but Pallas going direct in that house, in general, things are going direct that have been retrograde for a few months now. And so a lot of what you have been doing the internal work on, now there's going to be an opportunity for this stuff to start manifesting in the outside world. And, and then that brings up a different set of issues than what's going on when it was a more internal experience, right? So this is all positive. This is all stuff that needs to happen. It's evolutionary, but it's tests, it's challenging. Mars retrograde is bringing tests for all of us. Aries is going to feel it very strongly, and the other cardinal signs will feel it very strongly, meaning Libra, who opposes Aries, and Capricorn and Cancer. But this is the Aries video, so I'm going to stay focused on you, dear Aries. And so Pallas going direct, it's the strategies, the chess playing internal strategies that you've been having going on since May. It's going to be time to start executing them on the board now. And that is not going to be Aries' challenges. Don't go, don't blow your whole energetic wad up front, because you have to have the staying. It's not just about the initiation, and so Aries has to practice, pacing and timing. This is chess. It's not checkers. Venus enters Leo September 6th. And so Venus entering Leo, this is a fiery Venus. This is a passionate Venus. For Aries, Leo is a trine, and so it's a passionate, healthy, harmonious aspect. It's very fiery, so it's going to be in your 5th house of creativity. And so I think that this is a very creative time for Aries. This is a great time to give energy and devotion to whatever creative projects you have on the table. If you are not a creative person, this might be a great time to develop a creative outlet, because that is something that would be a really good way for Aries to channel their energy during this really intense Mars season that's happening September through November, the most strong, but really until the end of the year, and so fire you need that outlet, there needs to be an expression of it in some way, and because Venus is in your 5th house, it looks like creativity is the way. It's important to have fun too, have a good time, and it's important to focus on that which brings you joy. What brings you joy in life, Aries? This is what to focus on while Venus is in Leo, and it's there for the rest of September. And so then September 9th, Mars enters Aries, and I mean, Mars goes retrograde in Aries, and we've been feeling the pre-shadow of this for a little bit now, but it is officially happening, and this aspect is until November 13th. And you know, Mars, again, Mars rules the military, Mars rules the police, Mars rules guns, Mars rules explosions, Mars rules all of that kind of stuff. And so, you know, already in the shadow period, we saw the explosion in Lebanon. We saw that police are threatening to strike. There's wildfires, record number wildfires in California, record heat at 134 degrees in California. And that all just happened during the pre-shadow period. So you can just know, we can, you know, just kind of know what to expect in this season of September to November, so that we can, you know, conduct ourselves and move accordingly in this terrain. And yeah, so for Aries in particular, this retrograde is in your first house, which is the most personal house of the zodiacal wheel. It's the house of self. It's the house of your body. It's the house of your self-expression, of your ego, of your essence, of your sense of self. And so Aries is really going to get a master class in self. And this is an opportunity for self-mastery, you know, and it's a great time for Aries to get a reading for sure. So I highly recommend that you contact me, and we that would be a great way to navigate this Mars season. But you know, there's going to be an opportunity to look at hidden parts of yourself that you don't normally look at, where there might be repressed rage issues or repressed sexuality stuff. You know, Eris, the goddess of discord, is also in that first house, and then Chiron, the wounded healer. So there's going to be a time now, an opportunity for Aries to really heal on a very deep level. If you're willing to go deep and look at that stuff and heal that stuff, this is a very powerful turning point for you. Aries, who I think are, you know, not conscious of what's going on and letting these repressions or wounds dominate you from an unconscious point of view, this could be a very dark time or difficult time, or a time where there's a lot of anger and fighting and, you know, discord. And so, you know, that's where astrology comes in as such a healthy and empowering tool for self-awareness, because these energies are going to express themselves one way or another, but having an understanding of them, we can walk through it and we can wield them in a powerful way that just elevates us to the next level, because it's an evolutionary process. You know, we're in Earth school, you know, and these are the lessons. This is the curriculum for Aries right now, you know, and so it's a great time for Aries, you know, and an intense time, but a good time. And, you know, another thing about Mars traveling for your first house, you know, it can bring, you know, cuts, scrapes, burns, minor injuries, because it's the body for Aries. It's also the head, because Aries rules the head. So that's, you know, migraines. It's anything around, you know, the mouth, the eyes, the nose, this head area, the ears, even the hair, and you know, because that's what Aries rules body-wise and health-wise. And so, yeah, that is what's going on. And then Jupiter goes direct, also in your 10th house of career and attainment. So now, again, some of the inner expansion work you've been doing while in this area, while Jupiter has been retrograde, it's time for this to start manifesting in the outer world. But also remember, Saturn is there, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, more towards the end of the month, but it requires like a slow rollout. You know, you're not going to just charge. This is a slow rollout of your strategies and these, you know, ideas and new visions that you've set forth for yourself in these past few months of quarantine, shutdown, pandemic, whatever we want to call it. And then September 17th is the new moon of Virgo, and that new moon of Virgo is happening in your 6th house, Aries. So this is a good time to make a new start in the areas of physical health, the areas of your daily routine, the areas of work, also the areas of if you have small pets or you want a small pet, it's applicable to set intentions around that. Those are kind of all the different levels of things that the 6th house rules. But new moons are, and then it's all the Virgo stuff, of course, of like, you know, it's a good time to just clean and purge and detox and organize and anything that requires detail, and all of that kind of stuff. Virgo is very much about purification and improvement and self-improvement, and it's also a great time to set intentions around any like gardening or landscaping. That's also all very Virgo stuff, you know, but also cleaning out and organizing the closets in your home and personal space and workspace. That's all, you know, Virgo wants to purge, clean, organize, improve. And so this new moon, the focus is on setting all your intentions around that and making starts around that at this time. Very powerfully supported under the new moon of Virgo. And then September 20th, Juno enters Scorpio. So this is a time to go deep in your relationship, if you have one, and if not, it's time to go deep about what you are seeking, what you want in that, you know. And September 22nd, the sun enters Libra. Happy Libra season. And for Aries, because Libra opposes Aries on the zodiac, Libra season brings a lot of learning for you in that 30 days. It highlights a lot for you in the area of relationships, the area of partnerships, the area of justice and fairness, balance, equality, things like this. And maybe September 25th, not maybe, there's a Saturn quintile Chiron. This is something for Aries that's bringing together your 10th house of career and attainment with your 1st house of self, and you know, it's forming a square. There's an opportunity for you to take action towards healing something within yourself and your work life. And September 27th, Ceres retrograde enters Aquarius. So this is the house of friends and business associates for Aries. So this is an opportunity for you to be very nurturing to your friends, to your business associates during this season. And you can nurture with concepts and ideas and humanitarian ideals, and as being a part of the group and being a worker among workers, and you know, thinking out of the box, and things like this. And Mercury enters Scorpio also September 27th, and that is really, again, this is a time to go deep. You might be doing research at this time. It looks like you might be digging for facts, getting to the bottom of something, maybe deep and probing conversations, things like that. Maybe conversations about taboo topics, maybe talking about sex, talking about death, maybe conversations regarding, you know, other people's money, things like wills, inheritances, loans, settlements, that kinds of stuff, investors, anything like that. And then finally, at the end of the month, September 28th, Saturn goes direct. And it's really at this point where I think the Saturn going direct brings into play Palace and Jupiter all in the 10th house. And now it's time to move forward slowly, methodically, cautiously, surely with your goals around career and attainment. But there is something in the self also that needs to be resolved in terms of this. And so that's really what the themes of September and the rest of the year are for Aries. It's like your sense of self, your ego, your identity, your body, and then your work in the world, and what, your career, your attainment, your vocation, your calling. For some Aries, this could have stuff to do with your father, but not for all Aries. But that where the career stuff isn't resonating, that might be how it manifests. And so again, I can't recommend enough that it would be a great time as an Aries to work with a one-on-one astrologer. It could be a very empowering tool and kind of a map to guide you through this period, this very dynamic period for you. And thank you so much for joining me. What a long video, but there was a lot to share with Aries. If you liked this video, give me a like. If you didn't like it, give me the thumbs down, but I hope you liked it. Please follow me on Instagram at astrology.tarot.Eliane Nicole. I post in stories more regular updates about what's going on with the planets and the stars. I post books that I recommend for you to read if you want to learn more about astrology and tarot, potato, I don't know. And I also post, runes and just different updates, more specific about what's going on as it happens. So please follow me and join my community there. And I hope that you have a wonderful September, Aries. Thank you for joining me here. Thank you for listening. I can't believe this video is so long. Thank you.